by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members. So we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. It's indeed a sacred honor to remind each one of you what you already know. You know, you as your children are eternal souls. By the way, Joyce, Michelle, the name Michelle just popped in.
Michelle's coming in.
We were talking about her daughter, Michelle, just before we started. So it's a little hello. So I am sorry for what you all have gone through, for the pain and sadness and all the predictable lower energy emotions. However, I know that this can be a blessing, and there are lots of silver linings. And I know there is a way, partly because so many amazing HPH parents have demonstrated it, there is a way for you to find every ounce of blessings from it and put it to use. And so kudos for being here, and I look forward to sharing this evening. This is a very powerful technique we're going to be doing. The full technique is called Identify and Fulfill Your Highest Purposes. And it wasn't really a full 45-minute technique, and I usually keep them that length. So I also added, and create the greatest life of your dreams. So we're just going to do the first part, identify and fulfill your highest purposes. So the agenda is I'll give a intro about that topic and the session. We'll do an abbreviated session. You know, can't do the full thing in this hour of class, but it'll be enough to have a powerful experience. And then there'll be time at the end for people to share experiences, what they did experience, and then ask questions. If you didn't experience much, don't worry about it, because again, this is abbreviated class. This is kind of the Evelyn Wood speed reading version of it. So to learn more about this technique, you can read article number 21 at soulproof.com/articles. That's article number 21. And then there's a free audio program under shop, has a longer, deeper induction, some music in the background, the full technique that you can use at home, and I recommend you do. So general introduction. First of all, we've talked about in these meetings called the Great News that Dr. Gary Schwartz and I assembled 10 indications about the nature of reality, that is how life is set up, that are based on scientific and or clinical evidence. And then all of them also have what we call experiential evidence, that is firsthand experiences that collectively provide lots more validation that these descriptions are really the way describe the big picture of life. So the first one is that you're an eternal being of energy, consciousness, soul. Eternal, that's a long time, right? So what do forever beings do? When I was 10 years old, I was sitting in a Lutheran church, and the minister said, someday we'll be in heaven and we'll be playing golden harps and walking on golden streets. And I thought, wouldn't that get old after a while, though? I mean, how long can you? So it turns out, what do forever beings do? They love, they learn, they grow, they serve, they enjoy, and have adventures. And the article that discusses that is article number 80, which is called SAGE training. SAGE is an acronym for service, adventure, growth, and enjoyment. And a great way to do all those things I just mentioned is to have virtual reality-like experiences that are really just a blink of an eye in the span of eternity. When you're having that, just if you've ever had the goggles on, the headset and all that, I mean, it looks really real. First time I did, I looked down like, what the hell? Who turned my legs into a mermaid or whatever it was? I mean, the brain is just totally convinced. Well, same way with this earthly experience we're having. It's so convincing that we're solid, we're separate, and we can die. We're separate from Creator, we're separate from each other, none of which is true. And so, of course, if we totally buy into that, that's part of a big part of our worldview, life is going to seem sad, cruel, chaotic, unfair. But if we can just glimpse a little bit more of what we're talking about here, then you realize, so, there are blessings here. And you as a soul quite likely chose to participate in it. Item number 6 in the great news, and the great news is discussed in article number 19 at soulproof.com. Article number 6 is, or item number 6 is that you have special purposes for being on earth at this time. In other words, this is not a random thing like, wow, what the hell? What am I doing on earth? I don't have any idea. No, there are important reasons why you're here. Think about it. Here, now, and the evidence for that, by the way, comes from near-death experiences, from evidential mediums, from life between lives research, Dr. Michael Newton, and from religious and spiritual teachings, as well as some of these firsthand experiences that people have had where I had one when I was 12 years old. I was just a normal kid, I thought, sitting in the kitchen by myself reading the newspaper and eating a bowl of cereal. I mean, what could be more mundane than that? And I was reading a prominent local man that had just passed on. I was reading his obituary. What am I doing reading obituaries at age 12? Oh, that should have been the first time. I was a little strange. Anyway, so I'm reading it, and I just kind of looked up in reverie. Well, we had those old beveled glass windows, and the sunlight came through, and the light refracted and entered my eyes. And just then I heard this voice, whether it was the voice of God or my inner self. I don't see them as different. It said, "Mark, you're going to die someday too, like this guy. What are you going to do in the meantime? Are you going to make the world a better place, or are you just going to take up space?" That was it. Boom, short and sweet. And isn't that the way messages from Spirit are? And all of a sudden I what was that? And I went back to eating cereal and reading the paper. However, that and other clairaudient experiences I had felt like a gem that was stored in over my heart chakra. Every once in a while I would stop and think about that. It was a precious, sacred moment. I knew something really important had happened. Well, likewise, you may have had your own firsthand experiences that reminded you, hey, you're here for important reasons. And when you share those gifts, even a little bit, you feel more peaceful. You feel more whole. You feel more, your life feels more meaningful. You're in the flow of divine energy. When you don't share your greatest gift, or you don't even understand the concept, then, like many people, you feel boredom, existential malaise, depression. It's just like, is this all, is that all there is? So this is very, very important to identify and work toward. Now, even a few hours a week can make a difference. One of the many big insights that came from the interviews that Elizabeth Boyson and I did of 130 Shining Light parents who are affiliate leaders and caring listeners is how very healing it was, transformative, to find the silver linings, benefit from them personally, and then share those with others. It's a huge key. And if you haven't watched those, by the way, go to the helpingparentsheal.org website. And at the top, it says YouTube videos. And the very first one, you'll click and see the interviews. Highly recommend them. So when you do that, when you find, share, benefit personally from those silver linings, then that honors your child's life more. It creates a lot more meaning. And I know many of you know what I'm talking about. You've done things that to honor your child, creative foundations, or work in a soup kitchen or whatever. But this is really important, and you can hone in with this technique and do exactly what you're planned to do, what your soul planned to do. So it creates more meaning and possibly fulfills your soul contract, your soul planning. And you can learn more about that in article number 25. So it could very well be that your soul and your child's soul chose to have hey, let's have a virtual reality experience. But instead of your legs looking like a mermaid's, you chose to be, okay, I'll be the mom, you be the daughter or the son. You'll pass on early. I'll be heartbroken, but there'll be an opening there. There'll be a chance for me to remember, to have a breakthrough. Like Joyce was telling me before, she said her daughter got it. She was on the spiritual path. Joyce, not so much. So Michelle brought her to the party. And it truly is a party when you realize the big picture of life. It's so joyful and so cool. So enough about that. A little intro about the induction. We'll do just about 5 body parts: contract, relax, slow, regular breathing. I'll do some different counts from 10 to 1. Don't be tied to my language. In other words, different people have different sensory orientations. So if I say, see yourself walking down 10 steps, and you're not a visually oriented person, you may not see the steps. And you don't have to email me afterwards and say, I couldn't see anything. It's okay. You might be more auditorily oriented, kinesthetically, or cognitively, where you hear, feel, and know you're going down steps, but you may not be able to see them. So it's good to use as many of your senses as you can, and I'll encourage that along. All of that entertains the brain and helps quiet it, so then you can access more of your awareness. If you heard me talk before, you know that the brain, marvelous as it is, detects much, much less than 1% of reality. If everything exists with the size of Mount Everest, the portion the average human can perceive would be the size of a golf ball. And so the brain thinks it knows it all. The only thing that's really real is what I can see, hear, and feel. That is so wrong, it's not even funny. So that's why it's important to quiet your brain, meditation, time in nature, whatever works for you. Collectively, those are called centering practices. And the article that discusses those is article number 77, Way to Quiet the Mind. So that's what we do with this induction process. I recommend that you sit up versus lying down. It's near the end of the day. Excuse me, for some people. And if you're lying down, you may fall asleep and you won't get the session. Know that your answers, I'm going to ask a series of questions and then provide a minute for these answers to pop up, float in, versus you thinking about it. And those answers may come through like fragments, rapid download, or you may see, hear, feel, or know them in sequential order. So however those answers come through is fine. I'll mention signs of chakra activation, things like goosebumps, which some people call truth bumps, tears in your eyes, chills, pressure over your chest, lump in your throat. Those can be all signs of chakra activation. So at some point I'll ask, when you think about doing a certain work, or what gives you signs of chakra activation? So now you know what I'm talking about there. I will give the hypnotic suggestion that you'll remember everything you're supposed to afterwards. When you're doing this at home, and Marina, I know you're going to ask this question, so I'm asking it. So I'm answering it beforehand. When you use it at home, you can record your answers. In other words, you could be playing the audio program on your laptop, and you could have your phone recorder running. And then when you say your answer to the first one, what did you want to be when you're a child? What did you want to be when you grew up? you can say the answer out loud so that you record everything. The trouble with doing that is that gets the brain involved and might interfere with the technique. So most people find that they remember what they're supposed to. They remember the highlights. And keep in mind, you can do this repeatedly. You can do it once a week for a while till you feel like you really have a grasp of it. So again, I'm going to ask 7 questions to help you identify your soul's highest purposes with a minute of silence after each one. Then I'll ask 4 questions about practical action steps you can take to fulfill those missions. So at this point, the technique will only be 20 minutes or so, 25. But if you feel like you have to go to the bathroom before then, if you have some chapstick, want to moisten your lips, because I'll suggest that you use slow, open mouth breathing, kind of like your mouth can be parted, and so your lips can get a little dry, have a little water. So do those things now, please, while we see. Are there any questions or concerns about
Yeah.
this?
Mark,
Yeah,
Marina asked what SAGE stands for.
SAGE, SAGE.
Yes.
That's an acronym for service, adventure, growth, and enjoyment, which are 4 of the major reasons why souls will come to a place like Earth. And again, the article that discusses that is article number 80. Any other questions you want to ask by hand or with your digital hand? Yes, Marina.
I'm not sure if you want to answer this question now or later. Uh, you and Dr. Or you do experiments with communication with souls.
Okay, we definitely want to do that later, dear, because I can already tell it's going to take a while to answer it, and we want to do the technique first.
Okay.
Marina, you are just a gem. That's all I had to say. This woman, you can always count on Marina for some great questions. All right, any questions or concerns about the technique before we get started? Okay, then let's have you turn off your video, and that way you don't have to worry about anybody seeing you sitting there with your mouth hanging open. And let's have you sit up straight, hands on the top of your thighs is optimal. Starting to breathe slowly and deeply, focusing on my voice. And a couple of years to disable your video, just go to the lower left corner of your Zoom screen and click over video so there's a red line going through it. So Marianne and Ruth, we can still see you. And this is recorded. That's another reason we want you to blank out your video. Lower left hand screen. There you go. Okay, so everybody's closed that way. All right, so sitting up straight, eyes closed, breathing slowly and deeply, focusing on my voice. Let's begin by alternately contracting and relaxing major muscle groups, starting with your feet and legs. Take a deep breath in and tense those muscles up. Hold that tension. Notice how uncomfortable that feels. And then as you exhale, how good it feels to let those muscles relax. Now the muscles of the buttocks and thighs. Take a deep breath in and tighten those muscles up. Hold it, hold it. Notice how unnatural, uncomfortable it feels to be tense. And then how good it feels to let those muscles feel warm, heavy, and relaxed. Now the muscles of the chest and back. Take a deep breath in and tense those muscles. Hold the tension, hold it. Let this remind you that that's not what you want. What you do want is to relax, feeling peaceful. Now the muscles of the upper traps and shoulders. Raise your shoulders up toward your ears. Tense up those shoulder muscles. Hold it, and let them drop. And finally, the muscles of the face. Take a deep breath in and just squinch up all your muscles. Grind your teeth together and close your eyes and scrunch up your forehead muscles and relax. Now take a moment, please, and see if there are any areas of your body that seem to have residual tension. Simply contract and relax those on your own. Good. Now picture, imagine, visualize yourself standing at the top of a staircase. With my count from 10 to 1, see yourself slowly, safely stepping down, one step to the next. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing in front of an ornately designed door that you know represents a path to an even deeper state of relaxation. With my count from 3 to 1, see yourself easily opening it and stepping through. 3, 2, 1. Stepping through the door and seeing in front of you a path, a beautiful woodland path. And just take a moment and let your senses luxuriate in all the stimulation, hearing birds chirp, feeling a soft breeze on your skin, a little sunlight, smelling flowers, feeling so good, so peaceful, so relaxed. And as you continue to breathe slowly and deeply, focusing on my voice, feel yourself walking along this path. And as you do, you actually hear, before you see, a stream, a babbling brook. As you approach the stream, you notice feeling moistness, coolness on your skin from it. With my count from 10 to 1, see yourself safely, securely crossing a small bridge over this stream to the other side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the other side of the stream now, and notice a bench under a tree waiting just for you, a very comfortable bench. And see, hear, feel, know yourself seated on this bench. And you're immediately assisted, guided, protected by your spiritual support team, angels, guides, master teachers, and always and everywhere, the light, creative intelligence. And take a moment to benefit from their healing shower. These dear ones who love you more than you can imagine, who have known you from the beginning of time, who know just what you need in this moment to make a quantum leap toward healing and possibly transforming. So just receive this charging, this washing away of any lower energy emotions and filling you with higher ones. Good. And now, after I count from 5 to 1, listen for that still small voice within, your soul's voice that provides wise answers. and let them just pop up, float in, as you notice words, pictures, feelings, people, and places that give you clues and cues about the answers to these questions. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First, what are your earliest memories of what you want to be and do when you, quote, grow up? Good. Just let that knowing float in. Don't have to think about it. That's your brain. Next, what are your special talents? Things that come to you easily, your gifts, and how could those, and what are those special talents that could help others? Good. Now go a little more deeply on this one and don't do any judging. These could be little things. Your smile, your caring, your ability to talk with someone, notice when someone's having a problem. So just become more aware again. What are your special talents that could help others? Good. Next question. Let's let the answers pop in. What brings you the most joy, peace, and fulfillment? Good. Now, regarding signs of chakra activation, when you think about what are your greatest gifts, what are your soul's highest purposes, what chokes you up, gives you goosebumps, cold chills, tears in your eyes, or pressure over your chest? You're doing great. And now let's zoom in a bit to feelings about your soul's highest purposes that arose in your heart and mind after your child passed on. What has floated up? What have you felt that you would like to do, that you can do to honor your child, to create more meaning? Good. And finally, what do you feel your child would want you to do now in terms of sharing your greatest gifts, your special talents? Good. Let's go a little deeper on that one. What do you feel in your heart? What do you hear your child saying? What do you know they would want you to do to create more silver linings and share them? Good. Now just take a moment and receive more of a healing shower, washing away any lower energy emotions, sadness, guilt, anger, etc., that may have arisen from thinking about this, and being filled with higher ones: peace, joy, love, light, gratitude, enthusiasm, and more. Charging up now to consider 4 questions about what are practical action steps you can start doing tomorrow, not all at once, but incrementally, to share your highest purposes. After my count from 5 to 1, just let the answers to my questions pop in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First, all things considered, how can you best serve others at this time? And what are a couple action steps you can take to begin that? Next, what are some action steps you can take to heal more deeply and transmute your energies toward higher ones, positive transformation? And finally, how can you honor your child? What action steps can you take to create more meaning to his or her life? Very good. Remember that you can use this at home and revisit this and then do it periodically, maybe a few times a year as your missions change or you cross off boxes. But for now, it's time to begin to come back to the waking state, feeling completely refreshed, peaceful, fulfilled. I'm going to count forward from 1 to 5, and with each count, let yourself gently, gradually bring your awareness back into your body and the room. 1, 2, 3. Become more aware of the clothing on your body. 4. Start to wiggle your toes and fingers a bit. And 5, when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. And now if you would, re-enable your video. So who would like to share? What did you experience? How'd that go for you? Let's go with that first. What did you experience and any questions about this technique? Let's limit it to the technique for now.
Hi, I'll go ahead.
Okay, great.
I started to feel like, I don't know, I'm just not good at meditating. I started to feel like a little higher, but then something brought me back and I was very much in my body, very much like, so when you said, no, come back to your body, I'm like, oh, I'm already here. So
So
practice,
what brought you
practice.
back? Was it a noise in the house or what?
Um, I think it was one of the questions that I got sad, and so it brought me down.
Sure. Yeah, totally normal. And Cheryl, if you could mute yourself, please, dear, because right now you're
Sorry.
showing up on this. So thank you for sharing that, Lisa, and I'm sure others feel the same way. And just say something, please, Lisa, so I can see you back on my screen and see your face
Hello.
while we discuss.
Hello.
Yeah, okay. So this would be a good example of why the holistic breathing technique is so important. Tell me about your child name and how long ago they changed worlds.
Charlie, 7 years ago.
Okay. So of course there's sadness. There always is some. It diminishes usually and less often, but of course there's sadness. So for people who are having that, like Lisa, read article number 70, I think. I'm double check that, called the holistic breathing technique, and use that, say, twice a week for a month before you try this again. Um, yeah, article number 70. And then under shop, there's an audio program for that. So 45 minutes of deep, noisy, diaphragmatic breathing. Best way I know to get rid of those old wounds, the sadness, the lower energy emotions. And you'll cry your heart out, have a box of Kleenex, do it in the house at a time when there won't be other people and may be freaked out by it, or just warn them, hey, I'm doing this technique. You're going to hear me yelling and crying. Pound the mattress, get it out. It's kind of like primal scream, but I think a lot better. And then you'll get rid of some of that so you can go ahead and do this technique more and not be thrown off by the sadness. And likewise, when you're doing this at home, you'll have more control of your environment. For example, you can be more rested. You can, make sure animals are taken care of so they're not going to bark and wake you up or distract you. So any other questions about that, dear?
No, thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And to you and to everyone, if you have any follow-up questions, shoot me an email. I don't have a life. This is my whole life, helping people. So just email me, mark@soulproof.com. My answers will be short, but information and resource rich. Who else has a question or would like to share what they did or did not experience? Liza, yes.
Hi. As usual, I was met by my angels and my spirit guides, and they reminded me that sometimes I forget that they're still always there, and all I have to do is call on them, and they're right there. So I'm feeling sad. The past couple of weeks, I was feeling a little down, and I think it's because I hadn't been meditating, and they were reminding me you have to stay out of your head and stay in your heart, and that's where you'll find us. And I'd like to do a more acts of service in my son's name. So that came to me also, like pursue that. And just more reiterating, like I said before, that meditation is really the key for me. I know it's not, maybe it's not for everyone, but for me, it works. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just reminding me to stay out of my head.
Good job. Yeah, and really a balance is your heart and your mind. Um, if
I have a monkey mind, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with the heart first. And by the way, thanks for bringing up meditation. It's so important, and there are a lot of ways to meditate, and you can see article number 51 about that. You know, some people quiet their brain and meditate more walking in nature than a seated meditation. People are different that way. Well, thank you, Liza. You're always just right there and centered and strong. Way to be.
That's thanks to you, Dr. Pitstick.
Well, it's thanks to your whole team and your child and your ancestors. I mean, if we realized how much help we have, you know, this would be a lot easier. And like you said, you right away they reminded you, hello, we're right here, you know, put us to use. Yeah. All right. Thank you, dear one. Marianne, you're up next.
Yeah, so before I start, I really want to thank you because you have been so much of help to me. Like, I've been doing your meditations, like the afterlife.
Excuse me 1 second, darling. There's so much, keep in mind, I'm really deaf, and
Oh,
getting a lot of echoing. Can you get closer to the mic?
oh, can you hear me now?
That's better, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so like before I say anything, I want to thank you because your material has helped me tremendously, like especially the afterlife communication. Every time I listen to that and I just fall asleep, I have a dream visitation. So that's pretty amazing. Anyways, coming back to today, what I want to say is like, I find since this happened with my daughter, my attention span is very short. Like, I cannot like focus too long. I just have to distract myself and I need to divert my attention and then bring it back. I can't focus like completely on everything you say or in
Sure.
even a classroom setting. I find it very hard.
How long ago did your daughter pass?
Like 3.5 years.
Yeah. Well,
But she had a tragic death, so
yeah, so going through all that, it's an immense stress on the entire body, the brain, but also the endocrine system, including the adrenal glands. So do you live in the States or in the
no,
US?
I live in Canada.
Okay. All right. Well, even so, what I recommend is get a natural practitioner who does things like acupuncture and nutrition, whether it's herbs or whole food supplements. See my article number 12, which is about fine tuning the temple of your soul. But symptoms are your friend. They're telling you the body can't speak in English, so it speaks in symptoms. And that inability to focus is your body's saying, we need something to be tweaked a little bit. And so read that article number 12. Feel free to send me an email and I'll give you more specific recommendations. But yeah, if you don't have already, find a great natural practitioner area who can help you those ways, and so that you're more focused, which of course is important for a number of things. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, my deep pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.
Maria, you're up next.
Hello, once again.
Hello.
Your meditation was great. I am very visual, but I wanted to ask you when you said you're greeted by your guides. So my son was there along with my guides. And his personality was the same when he was alive. Like he was, kind of greeted me in the same way, was good spirit, like, hey, mom, and we hugged and then I continue with your questions, but I was wondering, is that something that you hear a lot?
Usually not. So there's two, what's his name again?
Andrew.
So number one possibility is he crashed the party.
He passed away in March, so this is fairly recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's taking advantage of any opportunity to say hi and pop in. And the other thing is, he could be one of your guides. There's some clinical evidence that sometimes your children are your guides and even your angels, at least angels in training. So that could be another reason he showed up when I said bring in your guides. Either way, it's beautiful, and I look forward to hearing more from Andrew.
Yep, he was there, and I could visually see Mark, like other people. Like when you said guides, I looked around and I could see, you know, a good chunk of the people there, and I mean, with different features, men, female. I could kind of I did like a scan of the room, and that was interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. When my dad passed, my fiance Andy can see Aura's angel spirits. And so when he was like a few hours away from going into a coma, she said, oh, there are about 12 dear ones who are in the room helping him into the light. And then hours later, when he's getting close to passing, I said, how many are here now? And she, people who can see other dimensions, they kind of look around like it's not like they're looking at solid things. She said, too many to count. She said, people, spirits, angels, animals. Dad was a big lover of nature. And she said, they're all here to honor him and help him return home. So, and that's for all of us. We all have that. We travel with an army of loved ones, powerful ones. So, yeah, remember that, like Liza brought up. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Nilu or Nilu? Forgive me.
Nilu.
Nilu. Huh? Either one. Okay.
Firstly, thank you for this amazing experience. I was just overwhelmed listening to you. I just had a question. I do know a lot of people can easily connect, or they say their guides are there and their angels are there. I somehow aren't able to connect. Is there any meditation or any article that I can read or listen to that will help me to discover who my guides could be or who is around me?
Sure.
I keep closing my eyes and thinking, but it's like forcing me to, to imagine. Yep. That's what I'm doing right now.
Well, I hope you know me by now to know that
yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
The article's number 71, and it's titled Ask Your Soul, Angels, and the Light. And then there's an audio program under Shop by the same name. And before each session, and same way with the holistic breath work we were talking about earlier, set an intention. And so in your case, your intention would be to more fully perceive, if it's in the best and highest good, to know more, feel more your angels, guides, master teachers. And then when you do this technique, they'll come in, pop in, and you just have a dialogue just like you're talking to me. So say you see some being of light, and you could say, what name can I call you? And don't try to think of it, just boom, it pops up, it floats in. And then, do you have a message for me? And again, let it come in. It could come in your heart chakra, could come in your third eye, the sixth chakra, and just develop a relationship with these dear ones who are part of your team. And then, as always, if you have any follow-up questions or run into any barriers, let me know and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Ah, my gosh. I always just have such a full heart after these. What a cool job and what a sacred honor. Marina, I know you have we have 2 minutes, so let's give it a shot, and I'll answer what I can.
Question, if you can, you can. If you have any knowledge by working with Dr. Schwartz, how soon reincarnation can happen? If you don't know, no problem.
Well, yeah, I usually know. First of all, we've not addressed that with the Soul Phone project. We're working on getting a soul keyboard so we can text and type with people who've passed on, both loved ones, but also scientists, inventors, religious teachers, etc. As far as reincarnation, I've written extensively about it. I trained with Dr. Brian Weiss in 1998, and you can see article number 34 to learn a lot about reincarnation. And then there's an audio program for that under shop. So you can have your own past life regression and experience your energy, your soul, visiting other time and places. Remember, we opened this talk up, so we've gone full circle saying really what we're experiencing is very much like a virtual reality experience. Well, same with a past life regression. So you could read the article, you could use that technique, but you have a specific question about reincarnation?
Yes, I think I heard my guardian angel why I cannot connect to my son. And the answer I think I heard in my head was you ask about hair, so he's working on reincarnation. Maybe it's my imagination, but I think that reincarnation cannot happen that soon. That's why I asking this question. Maybe my imagination.
Tell me again how long ago he passed?
1 year and 11 months.
Yeah. Well, first of all, usually a soul will take some time. And keep in mind, earth time and spirit time are different. But it's not unheard of for a soul to make a quick turnaround, especially when they have some undone work that they want to do. But even if your even if your son's soul has reincarnated, that's only part of his energy. For the average human, about 40%. So the rest of him is home or in other space-time experiences. So the point is that you should still be able to contact him, even if he has reincarnated. So I know this difficulty sensing him has been a recurrent theme for you, and that's why I'm going over a few minutes. But I would say all these techniques, whether it's holistic breathing or ask your soul or the reincarnation one, before you start it, set the intention, not why can't I sense him, because you want to focus on what you want, not what you don't want, but how can I sense my son's living presence and communicate with him better, and then see what comes up from that session. Okay, we're kind of packing that in, so be sure to email me if you have any follow-up questions, okay?
Okay.
Mark, there
Thank
was a question in the chat from Maria who said, question about the Soul Phone project. If you can do a talk further about this.
Thank you. I don't talk a lot about Soul Phone project on the HPH platform because we don't want, I'm one of the honorary board members. We don't want it to be perceived that helping parents heal is in any way endorsing the Soul Phone project. But to learn more, you can visit soulphone.org, the website. You can subscribe to the newsletters, free newsletters, and you can see articles number. Yes, I have articles on that. 35 and 85. So thank you for asking, and it's a very exciting topic, but yeah, I don't go into that too much here. We should leave because I know other teachers have classes starting at 8. So you know there are so many resources. If you're newer to this, you're not alone. Helping Parents Heal has what you need. Just ask. You have to reach out. And you know how to email me. Use this information and way we can help. Let us know. And we'll see you at the next class, Ask the Soul Doctor, the third Monday of this month. Oh, and also the tomorrow night is the second class for the Greater Reality Healing Program. And to learn more about that, you can visit soulproof.com. And then the top tab is Greater Reality Programs. And that's at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening if you want to join us for that. All right, we should go. Kick me out of here, Joyce.
Everybody can leave. Would you like me to stay a little bit or?
Yes, so I can
Okay.
answer your question. But before
Okay.
everyone goes, make sure you get 3 air hugs, please. At least 3.
Big air hug.
Thank you.
He gives the best hugs.
Real hugs, yeah. All
Real
right,
ones.
take care, everyone. Good night. God bless.
Good night, everybody.